Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 5. My name is Jason Erpelding. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC. And this is Scott Ferrioli.
I'm the owner of DVC-Rental.com and buyandsell.dvc.com.
And remember, if you're looking to rent some DVC points or you need to rent out your points, you want to visit DVC-Rental.com or you can call them at
407-494-2320.
And if you're looking to possibly sell your Disney Vacation Club property or you are thinking about becoming a DVC owner, you want to visit buyandsell.dvc.com or you want to call.
You have to remember this at some point going forward. 407-906-3789.
And like Scott has mentioned before, on the Buy and Sell website, there is a chat feature, so you can always ask your questions there. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can actually send a text message. You know, like sometimes we'll get text messages. I'm looking to possibly sell my beach club property. Can you send me some info? So you do have a couple different options of getting a hold of us. Today we're going to talk about Saratoga Springs. Mm-hmm. So Saratoga Springs is the largest Disney Vacation Club property. A couple facts to get out of the way. It expires 2054. The annual dues at Saratoga Springs are $7.11 per point.
Which is pretty low. That's one of the lowest out there.
So again, that just means if you own 100 points, your dues are going to be $711 for the year. So in my opinion, what Saratoga Springs is known for, if you're a DVC member or if you're looking to become a DVC member and you say, hey, I never make my reservations more than 7 months in advance. You know, maybe you live in Miami or you live in Atlanta or for whatever reason, you just don't make your reservations that far in advance. Most people in that category are going to choose to own at Saratoga Springs because you can buy Saratoga Springs. It's going to be, you know, more money than say Hilton Head or Vero Beach. But for the Orlando resorts, the price per point is going to probably be your best price per point. Like Scott mentioned, the dues are only $7.11 per point, and it has an expiration date of 2054.
That's the kicker. Having that later expiration is really nice as well.
And one thing, so some people will say, well, but I don't want to stay at Saratoga Springs. Well, we haven't mentioned this, I don't think, before in any of our episodes, but we also have a Facebook group. I think it's the largest Disney Vacation Club Facebook
resales group. Yep.
Resales group. And recently we asked a question on there. I mean, maybe Ty will put a link to the Facebook group in here. But anyway, we recently asked a question, you know, do you tend to stay only at your home resort or do you bounce around? And I thought it was going to be 80%, you know, I only stay at my home resort. Yep. It was 80% we bounce around. A lot of answers were we've never even stayed at my home resort.
Yeah, like Saratoga Springs is the first DVC contract I ever bought. And then when I added on again, it was the second one for the bang for the buck. And honestly, I've stayed at Saratoga Springs once. It's not a bad resort or anything. I mean, it's a beautiful resort, great resort, but there are just others that I like more. And I typically use my Saratoga Springs points to stay at other resorts all the time. And I've used them to stay at every single DVC resort except for Alani, because we haven't made it out to Alani just yet.
And then one thing I just want to have Scott touch on as far as rental requests go. Now, keep in mind, this is under normal circumstances, you know, prior to March of 2020. But if someone was looking to rent and they're putting their request in, say, only 3 weeks in advance or maybe up to 3 months in advance, what's going to be the availability for the resorts?
In normal situation, since Saratoga Springs is the largest resort, it's typically the last one to sell out. So a lot of times if you're looking, again, pre-everything, because right now there's some great availability at a lot of the resorts for the next couple months. But normal situations, Saratoga Springs will be the main resort that's left at that point. You know, 3 weeks out to 2 months out. You might start seeing some old Key West as well because it's the second largest resort, but Saratoga Springs is going to be the predominantly larger one that's there.
And then Saratoga Springs has the studio option, the 1-bedroom option, the 2-bedroom option, the Grand Villa, And the treehouse villa.
Yep, plus that treehouse.
And so it does give you a little bit of variety in as far as transportation goes at the resort. I don't know if Scott wants to touch on that. I mean, majority, if you're not going to use your car, majority of all your transportation is going to be the bus transportation. And a lot of members, I believe, like to stay on the first floor because it's just, there are elevators and stairs, but first floor just gives you easy access to, get out and get to a bus stop and, get to your destination.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad tip. Ty mentioned that tip earlier, that sometimes the first floor rooms are definitely preferred because you hop out a lot easier and get to everything. But Saratoga Springs has a lot of stuff to offer as well. And even though it's maybe not the most popular and sells out last, I mean, you've got great access to Disney Springs, which has the best food and entertainment on property by far. And again, tree houses are really, really cool for kids. That's an option that no other place has. And good food options as well that we're not going to touch on too much. But again, they've got the Turf Club, which I don't know if have you ever eaten there before?
No.
We've eaten there. And again, the food was very good at Turf Club. So again, I highly recommend that as well.
Perfect. Okay, so that's going to cover us for Saratoga Springs. Now we're going to go into the food of the week.
Food of the week time already.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
So we're going to stick close to Saratoga Springs because we went to Disney Springs the other day, which is, again, walking distance to Saratoga, or you could also take a boat over to Disney Springs as well. And for the first time ever, we tried Everglazed donuts. And I wasn't sure. I've heard good things about them, but like some of their donuts are $5.50 a piece, and that's pretty darn expensive for a donut. And I said, I said, when am I ever going to buy a $5.50 donut? But I sacrificed myself again for you guys. And we tried, you see how I do that? And we tried two of the donuts, and it's off of the Funky Bunch menu. We tried the Strawberry Jelly Deluxe and the Peanut Butter Explosion. And the Strawberry Jelly Deluxe is a strawberry jelly donut with strawberry buttercream, chopped fresh strawberries on top, vanilla icing, and it was really, really good. I'd heard good things about that one, and I wasn't sure. I like strawberries, but like the Peanut Butter Explosion, what was calling me on that. And I give that donut an 8. Which is it's a strong number for the donut. The Peanut Butter Explosion is a chocolate iced donut, peanut butter chips on top, and it's got a crushed Reese's cup and a chocolate peanut butter frosting stuffed inside. It was ridiculous. These were by far the best donuts I've ever had in my life. I give this one an 8.2. I would definitely go back there. They're large donuts. We got two. We couldn't finish them. We brought, part of each home, probably a little bit less than one donut came home with us. But expensive donuts, but again, better than Krispy Kreme, better than Dunkin' Donuts, better than Voodoo Donuts at Universal. They, again, expensive for donuts, but they do offer an annual pass discount, which helps out as well. But absolutely fantastic.
I will tell you, I just had a little flashback. I'm sure there's people out there when you're talking about never going to buy a $5.50 donut and what's a $5.50 donut taste like. I was the scene in Pulp Fiction when he's talking about the price of the milkshake. Oh, yeah. I don't know it exactly. I'm sure there's going to be experts out there that I messed up the scene, but who's.
Yeah, so. It was one of those things. When they first came out, somebody shared pictures. I was like, "That looks great," and then they said it was $5.50. I'm like, "Who the heck's gonna drop $5.50 on donut?" I know there's a ton of people who are going to, but I tend to be on the little bit of the thriftier side. I'm like $5.50 for a donut. That's like half a dozen at Dunkin' Donuts, and obviously you get a lot more at Dunkin' Donuts. But I can honestly say, best donuts I've ever had. Would highly recommend, and I will definitely be going back to get these, especially the Peanut Butter Explosion. That was ridiculous.
Perfect. Now we're going to just discuss talking about making an offer. And this is making an offer when you're looking to possibly buy a Disney Vacation Club. We get questions a lot of, what offer should I make on this property? Of course, a buyer is in the position they don't want to pay too much. And they may be in a situation where they don't want to lose the property. One thing I would recommend is it depends on the listing. Like if it's a small point listing and has a bunch of banked points and it's priced right, sometimes that listing is going to sell for the asking price and it is going to sell right away. And unfortunately, with the one thing on the resale is we can't just produce another one. So you just have to wait until another seller. But if you're looking at a listing and it's listed at say 148 a point, I tell buyers, hey, you might want to come in and offer anywhere from $5 to $10 per point less than what it's listed for. That way you can make an offer, and especially if you're starting at $10 per point less, most likely the seller is not going to accept that offer. Again, it depends on the listing, I understand. Depends on if there's bank points, things like that. But that way you can see where the seller is going to go with their counter offer. And then you can try and find a place where you want to negotiate, because every single seller is completely different. Every single listing is. I've had people come in and make an offer of $40 less a point on a property. And believe it or not, that transaction ended up coming to an agreement between the seller and the buyer. It wasn't $40 less, but that's where the buyer started, because they were trying to see if they could find the seller's bottom. So, I mean, it just gives you a little insight on the...
I like how you word that. See if they could find the seller's bottom. That's right. He said that, folks.
So, but you have to also keep in mind Disney's right of first refusal. So if you're looking at a property, like we're discussing Saratoga Springs, like if you're looking at a property at Saratoga Springs and it's already priced pretty aggressive, you may only want to make an offer a few dollars less a point, because number one, you're trying to get the seller to accept it, but then number two, you're trying to make sure it goes through Disney's right of first refusal. Because if you're looking at a 160 point property at Saratoga, and right now it's February of 2021, let's say you're looking at something that has a December listing, a December use year. It has banked points from 2019, all the points from 2020, and the points coming in 2021. Well, that's a unique listing, so you don't want to lose it, because another one's not going to come along that has all the banked points in there.
I know we've mentioned it previously, but why don't you hit on right of first refusal, what that is again for the people who are possibly just tuning in?
So when a seller lists their property, they listed that the price per point, and then a buyer makes an offer, the two come to an agreement. Once the seller signs, the buyer signs, it's sent to Disney for right of first refusal. And right of first refusal is Disney's checking to see if they want to buy the property back at the price that was negotiated between buyer and seller. So if I just use it in sense of the normal real estate, let's say you sold your house for $400,000 and you put right of first refusal on it. Now, the new owner 6 months later is selling the house for $150,000, but you know that nothing has been done drastically to the house. The house is still worth $400,000. So you say, why is the seller selling it for $150,000? So then you act on right of first refusal. You buy it back so you can turn around and sell it to make money. That's why Disney has right of first refusal. So if some seller out there is selling a property and they don't know when you list the property with us, we're going to let you know, like, these are the recent sales. But, if there's somebody out there that's selling it on their own and they like we're mentioning Saratoga, let's say you sell it to Saratoga right now for $85 a point, Disney's going to buy it back majority of the time.
Yeah,
and that's just below.
And as an owner of DVC, it's a really great way to make sure that your investment keeps its value. It keeps the price where it should be, because there are a lot of timeshares that end up on eBay for $1, to sell the whole timeshare. So Disney has the right to buy it back, to help keep those prices elevated for you, which is really good. When you're a DVC member, you want right of first refusal, because again, that's going to help keep your investment safe.
Yeah, like Scott said, when you're going to buy, you might be frustrated with right of first refusal, but once you get a property and you're an owner, you're glad that right of first refusal is there, because it helps protect the value. And
Disney typically doesn't buy a lot back.
They don't, because most sellers aren't going to accept an offer where Disney's going to buy it back. Sellers say, well, I'm not going to go that low, and they don't usually. I've been doing resales since 2004, and I would say, probably 88% of the properties since that time have made it through right of first refusal.
Yeah, so it's not like they're taking a ton back.
Right,
It's only
right.
12% or so that Disney may actually buy back the contract.
And it's not something that you really have to, be greatly concerned with because it doesn't happen. And then one thing I will say is if Disney does buy your property back, there's no coming back and renegotiating and making a higher bid. It's, Disney's going to buy it back. The seller's going to, they get all their same funds if Disney buys it back. There's nothing changes, but the transaction can continue with the seller. They still sell their property to Disney. Disney doesn't stop it. They just take over as the buyer. And when you make an offer, the best method to make an offer is to click on the listing. It's going to take you to a page. It's going to show you the information and click make an offer. And then you can fill out the information regarding your offer. Typically, the offer is going to be on the price per point. And the buyer's going to pay the closing costs, and the buyer's going to pay the dues on the points they're getting for the current year. So if you're looking at a 200-point listing, and you're getting 200 points from that year that you're buying, then you're going to pay dues on those points. You fill out that information. We're going to get an email. We're going to send you an email confirming that we have the information correct. And then once you confirm that, we're going to present the offer to the seller. Seller's either going to accept, counter, say they're firm with their price. You can call and make an offer, but the best method is on the website. And it may seem silly, but like, for example, there's a bunch of unique spelling of names, so if I talk to someone named Elizabeth, 99% of the time, Elizabeth is, we all know how we spell Elizabeth. But
you don't get with the silent Q sometimes?
But there's some Elizabeths out there that have an S. So if you have a unique spelling, you want to make sure when you make an offer that they have the correct names for the offer, because the last thing you want to do is start the process. It goes to Disney, and then you realize that your name was misspelled, and you got to revise the contract and resend. So, and to me, it always, like when I purchase something, I always like to see it and email back. Okay, this is what you're purchasing or you're offering, and this is what you're going to get. So you have it. You have that physical email so you can see everything. And that's pretty much it regarding making an offer.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't do as perfect of a job doing like the Saratoga Springs stuff. Like we kind of jumped through it. I was like, we didn't even mention like the pools or anything. It's like they've got great pools, 2 feature pools there. It's like we went through it so quickly. There's a lot of other things to check out in Saratoga Springs. We have a lot of videos on our website that show the rooms at Saratoga Springs and show the property of Saratoga Springs. So it's one of those things I'm going, definitely make sure you check those out as well. Because it really is, it's an absolutely beautiful property. It's got fantastic location in Disney Springs. I feel like we went through so quickly. We didn't do a great job on that one for you. So I apologize, but check out the videos. There's some great stuff on there. Saratoga is a great resort.
And then, so do you know what the refurbishment is right now at the Saratoga?
Right now, well, they finished all of the preferred view rooms. I think they're probably about halfway through the standard view rooms. They're supposed to be finished by summer. But I think a lot of the standard views that are showing up as available are currently refurbished, because a lot of the other ones that are not done yet have been taken out of commission already. They've got them pulled aside. They've pulled them out of inventory because they're going to be working on them. So I think if you book any room right now, there's, if you get preferred view, 100% chance you'll get one of the brand new refurbished rooms, which are really, really nice. They've got the pull down Murphy beds instead of the regular pull out couch. We took my man Ty over there took a great video of a studio at Saratoga Springs right after they were done refurbishing them. Really, really nice rooms. They came out really classy. They look nice, like Grand Californian and Riviera. It's got that type of style. Really, really nicely done. But again, odds are you're going to get a refurbished room. But again, supposedly by the end of the summer, everything will be complete on the refurbishment.
So on the rental side, is there a certain section that people try and request with you when they book Saratoga?
You can always put in a request. There's 5 different sections at Saratoga Springs, and you can always put in a request to be in a specific section. 2 of them are preferred view, 3 of them are standard view. So if you sit there and book a standard view and then you put in a request that you will be in a preferred view, that's not going to work. But if you want to be in the Springs section and you happen to be in the preferred view, Springs is part of preferred view, so we could put in the request for you that you want to be in the Springs. So we can do that.
And is there a certain section that you get more requests of, or it just kind of all evens out? Or
On the standard views, we don't get a ton of requests typically. On the preferred views, probably equal for Springs or Carousel. They're both great location, and they are Congress Park and Springs, because they're both near Disney Springs and the absolute closest to them and closest to the main pool and the dining and everything. So those probably not more one over the other. Maybe Springs might get a couple more requests, but I mean, both of them are relatively equal.
and then on the confirmed reservation, is it just like the other resorts? If you have a studio confirmed reservation, it's going to run out better than 1, 2, or 3 bedroom.
Studios always rent out the best.
So if someone has a confirmed studio and they want to, it's better to rent. It's easier to rent that out with you than it is a 1 bedroom.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
For any resort, typically studios are the first ones to rent out. I would say typically on the rental side, we get less 1 bedrooms, but we've had a lot of discounts recently on our deals page. So a lot of those 1 bedrooms have been priced around the same prices of the studios sometimes, or sometimes even less. So there's been some fantastic deals, especially for the 1 bedrooms where you get a full kitchen, washer, dryer, whirlpool tub, king size bed, and the rooms are much larger as well. So some really, really nice options, which is great if you're staying for a little bit longer and you can cook in your room as well and help save some money as well at Disney, which is hard to do.
And one thing I just want to mention, because he just mentioned like the different deals that he has. So on the buy and sell DVC website, you can sign up for the weekly emails. They come out Monday and Thursday. And you may say, well, I'm not looking to buy. I don't want to sign up for those emails. Well, in those emails, they also contain a link that you can look at the confirmed reservations that they have up for sale. You can use the email to link to DVC-Rental to put in your request, to rent out points. So if you may want to sign up for that email, even if you're just looking to rent points.
That's a good idea, because also it'll link on there to the YouTube page where we have new YouTube stuff, and what else? If we have a new blog article, it'll link to that as well. So yeah, if you sign up for the buy and sell resales list, it'll kind of put everything right in front of you. So it's probably a good idea if you're thinking of renting or even buying. Sign up for it. You're only going to get it twice a week, and again, it'll kind of have everything kind of laid out for you. So it's good to sign up for it.
So just remember, in this episode, it was Saratoga Springs making an offer, and then we jumped back to Saratoga. So
we're all over the place. Sorry, folks.
I don't know if you want to mention renting last minute at all, or save that for.
I mean, there's a lot of last minute reservations out there right now that have been highly, highly discounted. We're getting a lot of requests in for the next 2 to 3 weeks, just because I guess people aren't sure what's going to happen 2-3 months from now. So a lot of people are going, all right, I feel comfortable booking 3 weeks out. So definitely contact us if you're looking to come quickly down to Disney. And on our deals page, if you go to DVC-Rental.com, there's buttons for the deals all over the place. So just click on there. And I mean, normally we're $20 a point. We've had some stuff down to $8 a point recently. So sometimes 80% less than Disney. So I mean, absolutely huge savings.
So thanks for watching episode 5.
This is 5.
And again, if you're one of those people that are making reservations less than 7 months in advance, Saratoga Springs, it just might be the resort for you. 2054 expiration. Dues are only $7.11 per point. So
low buy-in price as well. And I'll also throw out there that in the last couple of episodes, I forgot to mention it. If you're not able to watch these videos so easily, we do have them via podcast as well. So check us out on podcast so you can listen to everything. So if you can't watch us, that's fine. You're commuting, download the podcast.
Sounds great. And thanks for watching.
Have a wonderful day.